Over the last couple of weeks, we've been looking at our expenditure, checking for anything that we weren't expecting in a normal month. We were looking at our income to see what was coming in, the assets that we held, the ones that we'd paid attention to, the ones that we'd just let run, carry on, and then we were looking at the difference that we then had, whether we were in a positive cash flow or a negative cash flow. My aim has always been to have multiple streams of income and have them as passive as possible. And what I mean is the income that comes in every month without necessarily me having to do any additional work with it. Now, when you're looking at your assets, if you're in a positive cash flow, what you might choose to do is look to see where you can invest. And this, as I said before, I'm not an IFA, but look to see where you can invest in something that you like that potentially will give you an irregular additional cash flow. It might be that you actually start looking at different ways to earn income. So you're diverting some of the stuff that you've actually already earned, already brought in, your positive cash flow, and then you're putting it into something that's going to give you a return. Therefore, my ideal is always when that passive income outweighs my monthly expenditure, and then my return on investment's virtually, effectively infinity, because I don't actually have to do anything more to cover all my outgoings. If your cash flow is in a negative, so you were spending more than you actually achieved coming in every month, this is a time for actually thinking about how you can make changes. So I've never been a great believer in having to cut back on what I was doing. There are things that I enjoy. There are things that I spend money on that sometimes I've thought, actually, I really don't need to. I don't enjoy it that much to require actually investing all that money in it. So do you know what? I'm actually going to stop that and take that cash flow and divert it somewhere else. And it might be that to begin with, you're paying down credit cards, doing whatever, but how can you generate additional income when you're in a negative cash flow? And invariably, that means starting to think differently. And about 15 years ago, I came across an industry called network marketing, which many of you will have heard of, and some of you will have had great experiences, some of you will have had less so. But do you know what? Actually, for the last 15 years, I've earned an income on helping people to save money, and I get paid for it every single month. And that's worked for me. So think outside the box. This is not always about taking your time and then swapping it directly for money. This is about maybe taking your time and investing in something that you do once. What about write a book? They say everybody has a book inside them. What's happened in your life that actually if you shared it with others, it would make a difference to them? It might be that you enjoy singing. Well, what about recording a record, getting it go viral, and then you get a residual income from there. You get a passive income every time that book sells, every time that song sings. Think differently to where we are now about how you can make a difference and change that cash flow. So here's just a couple of tips. As I said, maybe think about the books, the records. Google how else you could generate a passive income month in, month out. If you've got any questions, just give us a shout, PM me, send me a message, whatever. But contact me. Don't sit and worry and fret. This is a time where actually we can really spend more energy and excitement on coming out of the coronavirus lockdown at the beginning of April 2020 with a different mindset, but also a different way of actually sustaining our family and our livelihood. So that's today's task. Check whether you're positive cash flow or negative cash flow, and how can you start developing regular income coming in that doesn't take your time every single time. Look forward to getting some responses on what your challenges are.